All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Arizona Cardinals in tonight's video because, folks, I don't know if you're aware of this. They might be the definition of the most underrated team in the entire National Football League. Now, you might have an opinion on Kyler Murray. It might be positive, it might be negative, and that probably dictates, rightfully so, your opinion on the 2025 Arizona Cardinals. But myself, I prefer to be a little bit more optimistic, and I like... First off, 2024 Kyler. We're going to talk about that in today's video. But real quick, Arizona had a really fascinating offseason. It wasn't sexy. It wasn't headline-y, and they didn't need it. Last season, even at the end of the year, getting rid of that last, week 18 win against San Francisco, they had lost 5 out of their last 6 games. They lost to the Rams, Carolina, Seattle, Minnesota, Seattle. And that was the reason they didn't make the playoffs. But they went 8-9. They doubled their win total from 2 years ago. And they made a big move. I guess the sexy move in free agency would be Josh Sweat. And that I did misspeak. That was the sexy signing. And they had some really nice moves, especially for football OGs and Dalvin Tomlinson and Calais Campbell. These guys are going to solidify that up front. And hopefully Arizona, they were the 15th ranked defense last season. Hopefully they are top 10. And I've seen some... this isn't even Cardinals fans. This is just like random people in the NFL media world. I've seen some people speculate that Arizona could even be a top 5 defense this upcoming season. So I had to look into it, and I'm fascinated. I'm absolutely fascinated and intrigued. And if you guys have been watching this channel, we talked a lot of Arizona halfway through last season until, losing 5 out of their last 6, excluding week 18. But they haven't made the playoffs since 2021. This feels like a make or break season for Kyler Murray, Jonathan Gannon, and the whole Arizona Cardinals team. But like I said, I'm feeling pretty optimistic and hopeful about it. But folks, before we get into today's video, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. I will admit I've made a lot of Cardinals videos on this channel. None of them have ever done well. So if we could try and get this one to 25 likes, folks, it seriously would make a very big difference. So I was reading an article on PFF. They gave the Arizona Cardinals offseason grade a B+. I really loved that. I was not fully aware that everyone is kind of like feeling this Arizona Cardinals hype. Last season, the Cardinals, or this offseason, I should say, the Cardinals really prioritized giving Jonathan Gannon what he needs, like the tools, the trinkets in his bag to get this defense to elite levels. So like I said, Arizona's defense last season, 15th in opponents' points per game. They were 14th in offensive passing. They were 20th in offensive rushing. They were 20th in takeaways, not the best takeaway team. 13th in sacks, though. I like that statistic. And, when Gannon actually took over this team, they wrapped up the 2023 season with a very disappointing 51 PFF defensive grade, and it was 38.2 against the run. Folks, that's not good. So like we mentioned, the Josh Sweat acquisition, they also drafted a couple of studs in Walter Nolan, and then in the second round, you got Will Johnson. Will Johnson, I have a Raiders channel. I've been covering the Raiders since Devontae Adams got traded there. I remember for like a month or two, Raiders fans wanting Will Johnson at pick number 6. So I'm really excited about that. But just the simple additions of Josh Sweat, Walter Nolan, Will Johnson, Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, you should see significant progress towards above, so hopefully significantly above, but at least above average defense this upcoming year. But like I said in the first minute of this video, it really, unfortunately, all is going to come down to, like all 31 other teams in the NFL, the quarterback play. Now, I just watched that there was like a, 20 plus, every Kyler Murray 20 plus throw last season. I just finished watching that, and I wanted to talk about it because everybody's biggest question right now is, can Kyler Murray regain his form on the deep ball? And so I remember watching Kyler in high school, such a fascinating guy. But if you go back to 2021, he was the midseason MVP. I mean, he was the midseason MVP. And unfortunately, in the end of 2022, he tore his ACL. And so it disrupted the 2022 season, pretty much all of the 2023 season. And then it looks like he regained his form this past year. Mobility, efficiency, you name it. He scrambled more often. His PFF grade was good. His EPA per play returned to pre-injury levels. His sack rate continued to drop. So we're seeing the growth. we're just seeing the growth. But like I said, the one thing people are really nitpicking Kyler and looking at the tape, rightfully so. I hate watching, like, so basically what I'm talking about right now is somebody's like posting, someone on Twitter is posting every quarterback last year's, every single attempt they took a 20 plus more air yards. And so, for Kyler, a lot of people were very like critical. They're very critical of, the 6 minute Kyler clip. I hate watching stuff like that because I don't know the context. Like, for example, there was an interception against Detroit in double coverage. That could be at the end of halftime. That could be at the end of regulation. It could be on like 4th and 2. You know what I mean? So I hate watching stuff like that because I need to know the context. I need to know what down it is, how much yards, what the score of the football game is. The deep ball success this upcoming season, in my opinion, it's not that complicated because Marvin Harrison Jr. is on this team. And so there was a wide receiver ranking article and they put Marvin at 26. And, honestly, I understand it. His rookie season felt underwhelming at times just because of the consistency. It was the furthest thing from bad, though. He earned a 77.2 receiving grade, 91.8 grade against single coverage. He can win one-on-one, but that deep ball with Kyler, it just wasn't there. And I do honestly like the Arizona Cardinals offensive line. But real quick, if you had to rank Kyler Murray across all 32 starters for this upcoming season, where would you rank him? I liked PFF's grade. They had him at 15th. I liked it because he did have a bounce back, healthy 2024. And so he's around middle of the pack at this current point. But if he becomes a top 10 QB, Arizona's obviously making the playoffs. You're going to be a 10-win team, and we can start to resurface those 2021 conversations. But real quick, in the last minute of this video, I did want to talk about the draft because I haven't made a Cardinals video since pretty much technically your season ended. Walter Nolan at 16th, I liked it. I liked it a lot, all right? His 6.5 sacks last year at Ole Miss were tied for third amongst defensive tackles. His 12 tackles for loss at defensive tackle were second in all of college football. He also had 32 tackles within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage, so he can shed the blocks, he can make plays, and I really like it. And we mentioned all the new defensive line acquisitions. So, whether it's more situational for Walter this upcoming season, I'm just excited about his rookie year, but more importantly, just the overall outlook of the next couple of years of Walter Nolan. Where things really get fun for me personally is, pick number 47 in the second round, Will Johnson. Like I said, this was a projected top 10 pick for pretty much like 2 months after the college football season ended, but he fell down the draft board because of knee issues. And he said that it hasn't been a concern in 2 years. So he did have a shortened injury season last year at Michigan, but this genuinely looks like at the midpoint of the second round, like the steal of the draft. And I know when we talk about steals of the draft, maybe you're thinking more gemmy, like 5th, 6th, 7th round. Will Johnson, if you had to do like value falling pick, I really think it would be Will Johnson, at least on paper, right? So, folks, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. 2 things. Give me a loose win projection for Arizona this upcoming season, and then just give me any of your thoughts you have if you want to on Kyler Murray. Folks, that's it for me. Have a phenomenal rest of your Memorial Day weekend, and that is it. We'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.